Now there is plenty on the line for Boise State and Utah State tonight. As you look at the updated Mountain West Conference standings, someone will walk out of Maverick Stadium with a precious victory that will make them bowl eligible this evening. As you can see, the Broncos do have a slight edge over the Aggies, at least for now, in the Mountain West standings, thanks to a recent blowout win over New Mexico. So Boise State trying to hold their position near the top of the Mountain West Conference standings and maybe move up enough to make a spot in the Mountain West Conference championship game. It is safe to call the 2023 Boise State football season one of the not only more wilder ones in program history, but one of the wildest in the country this season. They've lost 5 games for just the third time in like the last 25 years. They have one of the youngest rosters in college football when it comes to talent that's producing for them on the field. They've used 2 quarterbacks in all but 1 game this season, and they fired their head coach for the first time ever in season. Pretty wild.
Yeah, but sure enough, through all the ups and downs we've seen, they're still in the hunt for the Mountain West Championship. Against all odds, it
would almost seem poetic for it to actually happen, right? According to ESPN's Football Power Index, the Broncos have a 63% chance of winning today and a 61% chance of beating Air Force next week on the Blue. I'll remind you, just a couple of weeks ago, Boise State was considered a pretty big underdog in that game, but the Falcons have struggled recently. When you add it all up, though, FPI gives Boise State an 86% chance of getting bowl eligible and an 8.1% chance of winning a Mountain West Conference championship. If that seems like a small percentage, I'll say this, it's doubled in the last week. So there still is a chance that Boise State could get back into the Mountain West Conference championship game title hunt. Now, this is kind of what needs to happen. I'm going to just start with this. UNLV and Air Force control their own destiny, right? But here's the scenario, the path to the title game for Boise State. If Air Force, Boise State, and San Jose State all end up at 6-2, Boise State would have the necessary tiebreakers to host the Mountain West Conference Championship on December 2nd. The same can be said if Boise State and Air Force finish 6-2, the Broncos claiming the head-to-head bragging rights there and home field advantage for the championship game. Should Boise State and Fresno State finish 6-2, then the Broncos would have to travel back down to the Big Raisin for the championship game because the Bulldogs hold that head-to-head tiebreaker. You're going to notice UNLV isn't anywhere on this graphic. That's because if the Broncos and Rebels do end up in a tie, the computer rankings would determine that. Considering UNLV is 8-2 at the moment, that likely would not fall in favor of the Broncos, so it would lead to them traveling down to Las Vegas for that championship game. So in other words, root for UNLV to lose and Fresno State to lose and Boise State to win out.